Hello and welcome to the Sunday Night Social with me, Graham Hughes, and we've got Ed Kimberley, not just any old Ed Kimberley, but we've got Councillor Ed Kimberley with us tonight.
You say that like you know a lot of Ed Kimberleys.
Yeah, I do. At least 17. So you're the councillor down in Worcestershire.
Well done. Well done. Yeah, Worcestershire.
And is it the city? No, it's the county council, isn't it? Not the city council, but it's
it's the city council.
You're in the city council, but the county council is refuck. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh my god!
It's been fun. We've just had we've just had our first. I'm going to say my words carefully here because we've had a near political assassination in the last few days. But we have had a figurative political assassination has taken place in the last couple of days in Worcestershire, where the Reform county leader has been voted out by her members.
Oh, so a circular firing squad.
Yes, and it's going so well. The outgoing leader, her son has taken to social media to explain in chapter and verse how much he doesn't like the new guy. It's smashing. It's spectacular. Welcome to the resistance, Ashley Monk, I guess.
So his mum rang him up and went, can you do us a favour? Can you go on social media and do social media things? We do need to talk about this assassination attempt.
Yeah.
This bungled assassination attempt. It makes the security forces around Trump look really inadequate. But I think that the standout image of the night is the one I used as a thumbnail. With Stephen Miller, who, if you don't know him, he's the guy behind everything Trump does. He is like the Wizard of Oz, and Trump is just the face going blah, 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 blah. But all the horrible things with ICE and all the things that Israel's doing in Gaza that's being supported, all the stuff with Russia, where they're supporting Russia against Ukraine, it all comes from him, Stephen Miller. And he was captured in a moment in the ballroom, because it was this big ballroom that they had that wasn't secure enough. That's why Trump needs a bigger ballroom or something. And he was hiding behind his heavily pregnant wife. That's mind-blowing, isn't it?
They're real champions of women, ladies and gentlemen. Women's safety, absolutely.
Yeah.
You just want these guys in charge. You know they want to protect our women.
Yeah, they're there stopping, women's sports from going ahead, making sure that any women who want to go into women's sports have a gentle inspection just in case.
As we all know, the handful of trans people that exist in the world are a far greater danger than armed men with assault rifles.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. As long as they make sure those little league games are fully, segregated by the sex allocated at birth, then everyone will be happy and safe. Someone pointed out that now that Trump's said that he needs this ballroom to stay safe, right? So every elementary school in America is going to get a ballroom. That's nice, isn't it?
I've got to say, hats off to America for electing the first oracle as president. Like the fact that Trump knew months in advance that his safety would be so much at risk that he would need this ballroom to head off the assassination, and then started building it before it happened.
The prescience of this guy. Hey, talking of prescience, it's Femi. Hey, Femi, how you doing?
Not bad. How you doing?
We're good. We're good. Have you met Ed before? It's Ed Kimberley. Maybe somewhere.
We have met,
but
no. I said to Graham, we met at Labour conference when you did the session, I think in 2022, 2023, possibly. But we've definitely met before, Femi, and I think we talked before about you making a visit to Worcester. So now it's been said on stream, you've been reminded.
Well, me and Femi have been to Worcester. So we went to Worcester for a wedding, didn't we, Femi?
Yeah, because Worcester is next to me, so I can go to Worcester in my sleep.
It's a long way away from me. That was quite dedication for myself. Me, Femi, Mike Galsworthy. That was a good wedding, wasn't it? We got a super chat in, yay, already from Miss Paula Thomas, who says, "And look where Stephen Miller's hands are going." Yes, they're on her tits. Well, one of them's on a boob, right? And then we're just talking about that photo, Femi, of Stephen Miller hiding behind his pregnant wife.
Oh God, the one that looks like an alien.
Yes. Well, no, his wife doesn't look like an alien.
Not the wife, the guy.
Stephen Miller. Yeah, no, he looks like a cross between Nosferatu and in Star Trek where they can't be arsed making the aliens look that alien, so they just put a bit of plasticine on the forehead. He looks like one of them. you know what I mean? Like a half-arsed alien from Star Trek. You know,
He's a weirdo.
Take far
in
too long
everything he
to make
does,
like a
and,
lizard or something.
A half-assed alien on Star Trek with a like half-done forehead, but also like a strangely authoritarian but unsubstantiated kind of society and social structure.
Yeah. But now that this has happened, everyone's saying it was fake. Everyone's saying it wasn't real. Everyone's saying it was a big distraction from the Epstein files. And before we came on, Ed was just saying, like, basically, when he dies, it's going to be carnage, isn't it? Because everyone's going to be like, he's not really dead, or he is dead, and this is why, or.
Look, I said to Graham, and I'm going to say this for myself. I'm going to say this for myself just so that it's on the record that Cllr Ed Kimberley, made this prediction. It's going to ruin my career, I'm sure. But it's like, the day that Trump dies, the internet will decide that he didn't really die, or that he died to assassination, irrespective of the mechanism that it happens by, whether it is old age, whether it is heart failure from all of the McDonald's he keeps having, whatever kills him. People will think it was an assassination.
Yeah,
it just will be. It just will be.
People don't just shit themselves to death, Ed.
I don't know.
So, like, it's also kind of, we have an advantage compared to Elvis, because with Elvis, at least you can say, all right, by now, after so many years, he probably wouldn't have survived anyway by natural. Like with Trump, what's the chances of him being alive in 10 years anyway? So by 10 years' time, he's definitely going to be dead.
But then people were saying back as far as 2016 with this unhealthy lifestyle that he wouldn't last the year, and then he's still here.
People
it's like we're getting
Putin's been on death's door for the last 20 bloody years. Oh, he's nearly dead. I'm like, is he though? Is he?
Clearly, the problem with our world is that it is governed by haunts that are still around, and that's why nothing happens, because they're actually already dead and we're just being haunted collectively, and no one's called it out yet. Clearly,
we've got some great great comments here. They want to know, Ed, if you've had a haircut.
Sorry, have I had a haircut?
Yeah, and Pete says to Femi, looking good. Plum says, I think trans women are great. Thumbs up. Thank you very much for that. And Daniela agrees, says, absolutely, trans people are awesome. Trans flag and a smiley face. Glad we're spreading happiness around the world. Although, tragic news this morning about what happened last night, I'm not going to make that joke. No, I can't. You're a counsellor. I can't. You're getting into too much trouble.
If you want a relevant joke about flags, though, there's a flag component to the story that you brought me in for about Alan Amos and Worcestershire reform.
Yes.
Oh, it's delicious.
Go on then. Tell us about your flags in Worcestershire.
Okay, so there's a whole long story with flags. I'll try and.
Have you got any flags where you are, Femi?
In Birmingham, not so much in the residential areas, because the residential areas aren't Tommy type of people. But in the on the big major roads, like your ring road sort of things, they put them up there. And then when you go out into the slightly more, like at least 10, 15 minutes drive outside the center, then it gets flaggy.
Yeah.
Bit flaggy.
Now, Femi, I'm guessing if you've ever spoken to someone about the flags going up on the lampposts and you said it's not particularly great that they're going up on the lampposts, you've probably heard the same line I have. Stop me if you've heard this one before. But where were you guys complaining when they were putting Palestine and rainbow flags up? You heard that one?
What, on every single lamppost?
So yeah, that's the standard line from the right. Now, by the way, I did a debate on the flags in Oxford Uni in January.
Yeah.
And it still hasn't gone up, and I'm now having a pretty serious dispute with Oxford Uni about that, because I absolutely destroyed what's his name, Patrick Christie's from GB News.
Nice.
Because it was good, because I actually the debate was, is English flag become a symbol of division rather than patriotism? And I had footage of him on GB News literally saying, if you don't like the flag, get out of the country, and it's mainly non-white people that don't like these flags. So literally saying the flag is a symbol of non-white people should get out the country.
The number of times you get people say, "Oh, it's not political; it's our national flag," in the same breath as they say "Starmer out," and it's like, yes, you were saying it's not political.
Yeah. So it's so obvious. Plus, even if you were to step aside and be as completely neutral as possible, the polling shows that 50% of the general public believe that those flags are primarily about. Well, sorry, specifically the English flag. The polling different for the Union Jack, but the English flag going on those lampposts is more about anti-ethnic and anti-migrant sentiment than it is about patriotism. About 29% believe it's more about patriotism, and I think it's 19% believe that it's equally, which means that you total it up to 69% do believe that it is about anti-ethnic, anti-migrant sentiment, which means that when you put that up, you know you are sending a message to ethnic minorities that they are not welcome here.
Yeah. So, and also, it's bringing down house prices. We've got evidence of this. It's bringing down, and it's stifling inward investment in areas that have got the flags. And where are they putting the flags? They're all over here, Femi, in Durham. They're in all the villages. There's flags all between them. And they're all, because they've been up for like 9 months now, they've all fallen apart. They're all like, they're upside down to start with, which is always going to annoy me. And look out our kitchen window, I can see 2 upside down flags. The obsessive compulsive disorder inside me is like, must kill.
A close friend of mine, her granddad fought in the war, specifically in terms of making the Spitfires. And we have a place called Spitfire Island in Birmingham, and there's this big structure, basically as a memorial to those efforts back then. And they've draped flags all over it, and it looks like an absolute eyesore. And this is supposedly in the name of patriotism. You are disrespecting our war efforts.
Well, talk about
before we go on. I've got an idea though. You know how the Venn diagram of people who like to put up flags and the people who hate wind turbines is a circle, right? We need to paint the wind turbines in the colours of the Spitfire. With the roundel in the middle of the Spitfire and then on the wings, and make it look like Spitfire wings. Tell people they're made in the same factory that used to make Spitfires or something. Just make something up and change the name of them. Don't call them wind turbines anymore. Call them deeply patriotic Union Jack Spitfire.
Churchill turbines.
1966.
That same friend, her kid is like 14, 15. And apparently it is an insult in his school to say, your dad paints roundabouts.
Do you know what it is, though? I read this thing a while ago, and it's really stuck in my head about everyone on the internet being 12. Like Trump and Farage and all the people who follow them. Like they're Arrested Development or something. They act like 12-year-old kids, especially 12-year-old boys.
But there is something to that. I mean, if you actually know what the average reading age is. Oh,
hello, Mike. How you doing? Mike's just popping in for a few minutes to say hi once he discovers how to unmute himself. Come on, Mike, you can do it. You know you can.
We're counting on you.
There you go. He's done it. Mike, how you doing, mate? Hola.
I'm all right.
Hola.
How are you?
¿Qué tal? Bueno. It seems like you've got a bit of Wayne's internet over there. How did that happen?
Is it really bad?
It's pretty low. You're a low resolution fox at the best of times, but this is particularly. Do you want
Let me come out. Come out. I'll get on the Wi-Fi and come back.
Okay, cool. All right. See you in a mo, Mike. Thank you. Femi's fucked off. Femi's just gone.
Oh.
He's just walked out. He's like, I hate that guy.
Well, he must have heard that. It must have been all the flag jokes we were talking about earlier. He was just waiting for an opportunity to get out of there,
to get his flag out and put his flag.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, I was quite happy in 2012 when Mo Farah won the 500 and the 1,000 meters, and it was such like a really great sort of moment to see a Somalian refugee running through the stadium in London with the Olympic Stadium with the British flag on his shoulders, and it was like, oh God, yes, we got the flag back from the knobheads. And now they've gone and hijacked it again.
There is something to that, though, like retaking the flag. So actually, before this, before I came on today, earlier on in the day, there was a St. George's parade through Worcester being run by the local scouts. And I thought, I'm going to go along there. I'm going to make sure I get along there. I've had the local flagger group who love doing AI stuff and love photoshopping, and a couple of times they photoshopped me into an England football shirt. And then there was part of me that's obviously annoyed that they're doing stuff like this, that they're borrowing my face and trying to apply it to their message. But there's also part of me thinking, why do you think I'm offended by our national flag?
Yeah,
like, that's never been an issue.
Yeah, it's just weird. Anyway, Mike has turned into Scott. Mike goes out and Scott comes in. Hello, Scott. How you doing, mate?
That is quite the transformation. It has to be said. I don't.
It's like you pulled your mask off like a Mission Impossible. I'm actually Scott Williams.
I've never seen them in the same place at the same time.
Exactly. It's like
that's true, actually, because me and Mike still have never met in person.
Have you not? Oh, well, here he is. Here he is. He's come in.
Oh, yes. He's upside down.
No, he's not. He was upside side. Now he's the right way around. Hey, Mike, how you doing?
Is that better?
It is way better. It's like 1,000,000 times better. It's 110% better.
Yeah, they have Wi-Fi in Spain now. Who knew?
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Amazing. They've got roads and everything. It's like all the myths about Spain completely wrong.
Actually.
Yeah, but I don't think we ever invaded and occupied, annexed, and stole all the riches from Spain. So, do they have trains in Spain?
They do.
Do they? How they should be telling me they have democracy and sports.
Yeah. No, they've got
what? How do they get that without the British Empire showing them how to make trains and democracy and sports? How?
They have double-decker trains.
What? I want my money back.
Graham, I'm going to really disappoint you here. We did actually rob the Spanish, like fairly famously, their treasure fleets. We kind of nicked
we did
half
rob
of them
them.
through the Caribbean.
That's a bit different. Well, I suppose we took Gibraltar as well, didn't we?
I mean,
Treaty of Utrecht, 1648. Yeah, lovely.
There's a bit of a moral quandary there, though. Like, if you robbed Spanish galleons going through the Caribbean with stolen Spanish gold, stolen Latin American gold,
yeah.
Which is worse, stealing the gold originally or stealing it from the Spanish who stole it from the Native Americans? Like, which
I'm going to wade in here. The Spanish stealing all the gold from Latin America and leaving them with smallpox, herpes, and various other murderous diseases, which wiped out approximately 80% of the population of South America. Yeah. I think it was fair that we just nicked the gold on the way back, basically.
Pretty bad.
I think there's an element of justice to that by stealing from the robbers.
Yeah. It's a bit Ocean's 11.
Hey, listen, I'm sitting next to somebody that wants reparations for all of this, basically.
Yeah. We've got Wayne in the house. Wayne, and you're not in your milk float. This is amazing. It's the fastest milkman in the southeast.
Let's fucking go. I am not in my milk float.
You're not in the milk float.
I'm in my milk float, right.
Excellent.
Right.
Are you in a caravan, Wayne? It looks like a caravan. Is that where you are?
How rude. No, I'm on the good lady's bed.
Okay, this is taking a turn.
There you go.
The OnlyFans stream is later, Wayne. This is the one on YouTube.
Hours.
Yeah, come back.
No, right. Technical reasons. There was an absolute uproar of result to get this to actually go.
But you're here now, and that's what matters.
Yeah, I was
talking about being on the good lady's bed.
I was using my phone, and then she was like, "Can you use my laptop?" I was like, "Okay." And then I had to do all the system rebooting and all that crap.
Oh dear. Well, you're here now, and that's what's important. We were just talking about how everyone's 12 now on the internet. You know, little kids who go, "Look at me, look at me, look at me." That's Trump. He just wants us to see his ugly fucking face every single day. So he does this mad stuff every day. He wakes up and does something horrible, and he does it. So we have to look at his face every day, and it's just look at me, and it's because his daddy never paid him enough attention. I think.
Is the boom mic above you, Wayne?
What's that?
Is that a boom mic above you?
Yeah, I've got my mic here. Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, so your lady. Okay, so it's just you're very set up, and you're like you film there regularly.
Like a permanent.
I wasn't gonna say.
Right. Femi, Rob, I am not gonna take production fucking content issues from you. Mate, look, this is my thing. This is my boom mic, my light, everything.
Nice one. We've got a super chat come in from Miss Paula Thomas saying Spain has more high-speed track than we do. Yes, it does. And absolutely loads. How are the trains over there? Cheap and fast, Mike?
I've got to tell you about public transport. Can I just, Maria's just going to go and get away from this conversation, but I told her to come and wave and say hello because she's given me permission to be here, basically.
Oh,
so.
Fantastic. Yay! Hello! Hey! How you doing? How you doing, Maria?
Hola.
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 ¿Qué tal?
¿Sí? ¿Qué tal? Hola, ¿qué tal? Bien.
Bien, muy bien.
¿Cuántos hispanoparlantes tenemos en este grupo?
Oh, hello, flexing.
He's got a GCSE in Spanish, hasn't he?
Yeah, just leave my girlfriend alone, all right?
Mike, you're in trouble, bro. You're in trouble.
Also, Mickey J in the chat. Thank you very much for the £5 super chat. Just a quickie to say hi to Ed. Mike from Walks here. Lol. He should know who you mean.
I do know who you mean. Hi, Mike.
And also, Sarah, thank you very much for the super chat, reminding me to give Sarah's address to Wayne, which I have to remember to do that so Wayne can send his autograph to Sarah.
Yeah. By the way, anyone who's got a book out right now, I will sign it and send it.
You like signing other people's books, don't you?
Yes, I do, and not writing my own.
I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, I just. This whole thing of Trump making everyone look at him, I was going to link it to the flags. It's like the flag shaggers are just like, look, I've got a flag. Look at the flag. Look at that. And it's like, what have you done? What?
But look, if you want to talk about flags, I want to tell you, gents, a very quick story. It's worth it. So we've got a new Reform UK leader in Worcestershire. Congratulations, us. They didn't like the last one, so they've got us a new one. It's also a former Tory, because if things have gone wrong with a former Tory, you should have another former Tory. That will fix all your problems. And
he's not problematic, no, is he, Ed? Not problematic at all, no?
Google him is what I'll say first of all.
What's his name?
Google him.
What's his name?
Alan Amos. Now, any of you who've been around who've been around since the 90s and have been following politics that long have no excuse not to know who he is. He is a former Tory MP who got caught out during the John Major years round the back of a pub with another bloke. This became a massive incident. The Tory party there, basically, they were in the midst of saying back to basics, decency in politics, do the right thing, behave yourself. And then Alan got caught out with that, so they kind of maybe sacked him off. And then I
think that's a bit unfair because that was the 90s, wasn't it? When it was all still a bit, George Michael, cottaging.
Fair play. So then he had a big conversion, a come to Jesus kind of moment. He joined the Labour Party and stood as a councillor in a couple of places.
From the Tories.
I didn't need to Google this at all. He's telling me everything from the Wikipedia page.
It's context. Wow. In my defense, it's context.
Wow. No, please, of course, it's fine. It's fine. Sorry, I wasn't saying that as a bad thing. I was like, well, I'm literally reading along as he's saying it.
I'm not reading it. I'm not reading it.
So he was a Tory and then he went to Labour and now he's Reform.
So he was a Tory, then he went to Labour, then he went to being an independent for a bit, then he was a Tory again for a bit, then he was an independent again for a bit, and now he's Reform. Yeah, it's not complicated at all. I don't know what your problem is. So he did all of this, but while he had been a Labour councillor, he was kind of. So it kind of goes back to something that someone else said. I think Phil said in the chat, like. Basically, his idea of progressive politics was always kind of what a right-winger imagines progressive politics to be, rather than actually progressive politics. So he was talking about wanting to twin Worcester with Gaza, which was controversial enough at the time, and that was before things got really sort of heated. But then he was also, and this is something that the Reform group found out and got very unhappy about. He proposed having pedestrian crossings painted with the rainbow flag. Not on brand for Reform.
No.
This is a Reform councillor saying they should do the rainbow. I agree with that. Can I vote for him? He sounds great.
I think he may have changed his views since he changed his colours.
Yeah,
but it's like,
I'm reading on this. He's problematic at best. 2016, he claimed that women make up rape. He also is known for his right-wing views on immigration. 2019, 23 asylum seekers were settled in Worcestershire. He claimed that all cyclists are morons and dangerous, as well as describing carrier riders as Deliveroo idiots. He said that Amos suggested that.
Scott, I love this. This is live fact checking. I love it. It's fucking beautiful.
Like we're on CNN all of a sudden. What happened?
In April 2024, Amos asked for funding allocated to housing Ukrainian refugees to be used to clean up dog mess and litter instead, despite knowing it was ring-fenced funding.
We've got some chat coming. Reverend Caffey saying, I actually drafted a petition for Graham's Respect the Flag bill. Not posted it yet, though. Do it. Go on. It'd be brilliant. 100,000 people saying, no, if you've got a tatty flag, or it's upside down, or it's half-mast, or you don't take it down every night and salute it, and then put it back up every morning at a certain time on a proper regulation-sized flagpole, then it's a 500 quid on-the-spot fine.
Can I do a little...
Each offence.
In Spain, almost every roundabout has a massive Spanish flag on it, basically. Yes. But they are municipal, and it goes back to the Franco days. But they are municipal, they are looked after, and the flag is taken down at night, folded up, and then put back up again in the morning by somebody in the council.
Your dad flags roundabouts.
It kind of doesn't feel wrong. Right. So
it's literally a job.
I think your goal would really work because it would appeal to the flag lovers.
Exactly. The flag shaggers should love it, and it means we get rid of all the tatty flags. Win-win.
Great. I had a really, really bad sort of YouTube sort of incident with regards to the flags, because there's a guy called Greeno Eats. I don't know if you're aware of him. He's like a food reviewer, and he said that he noticed there was a lot of Union flags and St George's flags through Essex, and then when he went to Norfolk, nothing. And he said, "Is that a thing?" I was like, "Oh yeah, Essex. We're not that great on that."
Yeah, but honestly, I've got no problem with the flag. I'd rather take it back off them and say, "Listen, stop messing around with this." You know, as flags go, right? I know the George Gloucester's a bit boring, but the Union flag is a fucking cool looking flag. It is. It just is. It's better than the tricolour. It's just three colours in a row. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And from a design angle, an aesthetic angle, it looks like pow. You know, like Macedonia or you know.
Here's the thing. When it comes to sort of like seeing a sea of St George's crosses when it's not a World Cup or
a World War
or Euros. What do you think? What do you think?
I think racists have been out.
Yeah.
There you go. It's not hard.
Yeah.
And when people say, "Oh, it's our flag, we should fly," and all that, all right, bruv. When you fly that flag and you are not in a point of contention for like a football tournament or something like that, yeah, you're gonna get called a racist.
Can I? Before you came on, I was talking about the polls that show that the majority of people do see them as a sign of racism and xenophobia. I'm like 69%, and especially because like when I used to live in France or Belgium, etc., when I lived abroad, being the English guy, being the British guy was a major part of my identity. It would come up in every conversation. Your national 100%. Identity means something when it's in contrast to something else. Yeah. But if we're all living here, what are you trying to say? We're all British.
Yeah.
Femi, your mic's being a bit fluffy. I don't know if it's rubbing against something or...
Femi, like, to your point now, like when I was over in Sweden for New Year's a couple of years ago, right? My good friend Jartan, friend of the show, helped me up. He was like, "Oh, we've got an Englishman here. Like, help me up." Like, okay, didn't think anything of it. And there was no Union flags, there was no St George's flags. It was just like, oh yeah, oh, Wayne's here. it weren't a thing. But when like what you say, when you see the Union flag or the St George cross in any context, it's always right. Here we go. There's some fucking. There's a few lads here that whatever that will tear up.
Yeah.
There is no other context. There's no other context than that.
No.
Yeah.
It was interesting being in Spain for St George's Day because they celebrate it here.
Yes. Patriotism in Barcelona, isn't he? He's on the Barcelona
San Jose Day, and it's there's two traditions. One is that everybody swaps books with their friends and neighbours. So they say, "This is a book I've read; it's fantastic," and then you get one in return, and all the kids at school do that. And then the other one is they give each other roses, which is
for St George's Day.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
lovely. And that one goes back only to the 1920s. I couldn't find out why it happened. But
the chocolate or the flowers or both?
Sorry,
chocolate or the flowers or both?
The flowers. They give each other flowers. It's almost like a Valentine's thing as well. You're supposed to give them to your wife on give roses to your wife on St George's Day.
It's nice.
It's kind of a lot nicer than what we do on some Spanish people were saying, "What do you do on St George's Day?" And I said, "Mainly racist shit, really."
I have to ask a question.
We get a bit stabby.
How are you supposed to feel patriotic? Like, this is a thing that has really happened. Like, in the council ward where we run regular litter picking groups and we go out into the estate, we go and pick litter out. Like, that's, to my mind, that's actual patriotism, is helping out in your area, supporting the people in the community that you love. So when we go around and we find a block of flats absolutely festooned with St. George's flags, do you think the people who've put them up have A, patriotically tidied up the packaging, put it away, looked after the area, made it look nice and tidy, or have they B, left them for us to pick up for them?
Yeah, of course.
B.
Yeah. There was no prizes for that.
Because I'm not going to go around long. I wanted to share two other observations from being in Spain for a week, right?
Sure.
One of them is we found a British cemetery in Madrid. Right, just up on a hill in La Latina, and in this cemetery,
that's where we bury Tottenham.
Yeah, beautiful, peaceful place, really beautiful. And each grave told a story of they weren't all British in there at all, but they were all different countries, people marrying, having children, living, dying, people that fought in the Civil War, Brits that fought in the Civil War. There was 4 Welsh people that were killed in the Civil War. There was 4 Americans rescuing POWs from Spain during the Second World War. Greeks marrying Spanish, marrying every nationality marrying each other, basically, and living and dying and loving in this place. The only bad thing about that was that some German had built a massive mausoleum that genuinely looked like some crypt from Indiana Jones or something right in the middle of it. So I don't know what that was about. But then the other one is we've just spent the day in, I kind of wanted to call in from there, but it was incredibly noisy down there in the bar that we were in. But the whole Rio area of Madrid is an example of how you use EU money to revitalize a complete area of a city and turn it into a massive park where there must have been 100,000 people wandering around in the beautiful sunshine with trees, and it's all growing over a motorway either side of the river.
I dream of this.
They buried the motorway around the whole of Madrid, and they've built this park that's like 10 kilometers long all around it. It's just the most beautiful, really clever civil engineering and civic work.
That's why I can't travel anymore. I just die of jealousy of other countries that just do things better.
But if we tear up the motorways,
and then finally,
the
public transport is incredible. Maria lives in a place called Alpedretti, which is about a 35-40 minute bus ride away from the center of Madrid, or from where I am in Madrid. It's €2.90 to do that trip. It takes 40 minutes. It only stops twice, and there are hundreds of these buses from an underground bus station which is right where all the metros converge.
Yeah.
And you pay €2.90 for this bus trip there and back. And on the metro all day, it cost me €4 to travel anywhere I want all day. Basically.
I'm dying of jealousy.
But what I will say is the Spaniards, the Madridians, they all complain about the public transport here, basically.
but Mike,
no idea how good they have it.
Brings me onto a topic of have you seen what the American travel system is doing in aid of the World Cup?
Oh, they're charging $111 to go down the road on the bus.
Yeah, it's shocking. It's shocking.
Kids, if you know, seriously, if you got to find a cheaper hobby. If you're into football, you're gonna have to take up cocaine or something. You'll save a fortune.
Whoa! We do not condone that.
It's a joke. It's a joke.
Don't do drugs.
What one angry pagan, £2 super chat. Thank you very much. Spain has the most biodiversity, and we are the least biodiverse in the EU, apparently. Well, in Europe. Thanks very much for that. And also, that means that we can do this. We can go 3, 2, 1, and trigger the confetti cannon. Boom! Hey! I'm going to have to make like a mega confetti for when the big, beautiful day comes. It's like an all-day confetti explosion.
So close so far.
Femi's just sitting there going, "What the hell's going on?" Just to explain, Femi, that when we get enough super chats in, we make confetti come down off the screen, but we call it confetti because of that time that Trump was texting in the middle of the night.
Also, Femi, can I ask? Talking about football, because I know you're
which I'm an expert on, obviously.
I know you're a rugby man, but who's your football team?
Officially, it's Arsenal because that was what I supported when I was 8 years old. You can say.
No. Aren't you originally from on these parts? Why don't you support Sunderland or Newcastle, Femi?
Oh well, because when I was 8, I heard Ian Wright on the radio, saw a picture of him, was like, yeah, I'll support that team.
Okay. So my brother,
right, number 8. Let's go.
My brother is a contrary bugger, and he got into football in the 70s, right, when he was a little kid. What team do you reckon he supported? He grew up in Liverpool.
Everton.
No.
United?
No.
If you say Tottenham, we're done.
Weirder than that.
What?
Nottingham Forest.
Almost. You're going in the right direction.
Notts County.
No, not Nottingham.
Coventry.
Derby.
No, further over to the right.
Good Lord, just tell us.
Oh,
Ipswich. He supported Ipswich Town. He still does to this day. Ipswich.
Hang on.
I mean, talk about picking a random fucking thing.
I worked with a guy who literally had an Ipswich Town tattoo.
Oh wow!
I saw this last week.
When you're from Liverpool, people go, "Oh, are you blue or red?" And he goes, "I'm actually a green. I'm Ipswich Town." I think they're green.
Nothing good comes out of Ipswich.
I feel like on the strength of all the people having Ipswich tattoos, I feel like we should be really polite about Ipswich. I think we should all pay our respects to Ipswich. I don't want to cross a person.
Probably they were really good in the 70s. They used to have like a streak. I think they were like Leicester in the towns.
TV show celebrating Ipswich's 20 years history of winning the FA Cup.
Right. No, I'm telling you now, when you drive up the A12 and you get to the A14 Ipswich roundabout, you have to sigh. It's like, oh fuck, I'm here, because it's just a horrible place.
They won the FA Cup with Bobby Robson in charge, basically. Paul Mariner scoring all the goals. They were East Anglia's pride for a little while.
Anyway, we have.
I'm sorry, Mike. No, you're wrong.
What? Who's wrong?
I'm sorry, mate.
Anyway,
Delia, walking out Norwich.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wayne, we've had a super chat come in from James Horner, who did the music for Aliens and Titanic. Well done, James. Why is right-wing populism so shallow? Just wave a flag and sing the main verse of Rule Britannia do they actually like anything about the UK? No.
Oh.
Have you ever met any of them? All they do is complain. All they do is go, don't like this. And then when you try and make things better, they complain about anything changing, so you can't win. So that's my thing.
I did a video.
To that point, ask him to sing the second verse.
Yeah, go on. Go on, Femi. What were you going to say? Done a video.
I did a video this week about how waving your country's flag constantly, like these politicians do, is basically the equivalent of having a small willy. Because and hear me out, because people like Andrew Tate or your sort of typical dude bro will buy a big, expensive, flashy car to basically compensate for the fact that they're insecure about something else. Similarly, these people are not actually patriots. Like Nigel Farage explicitly said in 2018, I think it was, do you know what I'm asked about? Are we going to be richer or poorer with Brexit? Do you know what the answer is? What price freedom? What price identity? What price our identity as a country? These are the arguments actually that really matter. Literally saying, I am happy to make the people of my country poorer because of the symbolism of patriotism, which is the opposite of patriotism, because it means he's putting his feelings over the well-being of his entire country. And so because these people know they're not actually patriotic, I mean, I've got tons of them. I've got Katie Hopkins on record. I've got Danny Tomo on record, literally saying we're happy to make the country poor in the name of Brexit. They know they're not patriotic, so all they can do is buy a big-ass flag and celebrate the symbol of patriotism because they're insecure about the actual concept itself.
But Femi brings receipts. Femi brings, he's got all the clips from all these knobheads who have said stupid things over the years, and he's just like, how? Do you remember when you said this? Especially Farage. I mean,
this is Femi. This is not me blowing smoke up your ass at all, because I could though. But you do a thing that my good friend who I'm Randy's ass on Wednesday says. You actually asked the follow-up question. The follow-up question. Okay, so you have this talking point of okay, this is what I believe, and then someone comes along and says, but what after? What after? And you have that in your locker, in the sense of like I've got the answer already, and they do not have it.
Yeah,
that is the beautiful way that you dissect people. You wait for that answer to come, and then you go, okay, what's next?
So in my TikTok bio, I have myself down as Nigel Farage's reverse Flash, because it is obsession the extent to which I want to destroy him. Like often like when I see people talk about like they want something bad to happen to him, I'm like, no, I want him to live a very long life, because you know that scene at the end of Daredevil. Oh, sorry. Spoiler alert for Daredevil season 3.
Oh no! I'm just going to pull this out my ear. Go on,
Whoa.
Does he kill Farad? Is that what happened?
Where he's like, you will go back to prison. You will spend the rest of your miserable life knowing that I beat you. This city, it rejected you. I beat you. You can bring back in. I want him to suffer in prison. And so my point is, I studied Nigel Farage for literally a year. I would watch him on his show on LBC. I'd watch Nigel Farage at 6 p.m. every single day for a year before I started calling him up. So I knew exactly every argument that he makes every time before he's even going to make it.
Yep.
He's only got two.
One time I even
Femi, that's what I'm saying. You ask what's next, and that's where they fall apart.
There's something I wanted to get sort of to your point a minute ago. I think, you know, it's like we look at the simplistic messaging that the right wing is offering, and it's like it goes back to that question of why does it work? Because clearly this stuff works when it really, I think by our standards, it shouldn't. And so we have to go, okay, this is clearly working on a lot of people. I think this goes back to a prior conversation that you'll probably recall as soon as I start saying this, Graham. It's like, what's the average reading age in the UK? This is one that sucks the energy out of any room that you ask the question. But like, what's the average reading age in the UK?
Probably 12.
11 is optimistic. It's estimated between 9 and 11. And if you find samples of reading age 9 material, reading age 10 years old material, you will match that up against reform literature, and that's what they're aiming at.
The Sun newspaper doesn't use big words on purpose because it knows that its audience.
Famously a reading age of 8, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's
literally
Trump,
they are aiming for the audience that they know they have to reach, and they're not aiming for an audience that's educated or articulate. They're aiming for people who don't engage particularly well with academics. If you look at polling, and again, I'm the kind of nerd who spends time looking at breakdowns of the polling. If you look at the polling, Reform performs really well with people who've got the lowest levels of education. Funnily enough, the people with the highest levels of education, the strongest party with them currently is Labour, which is flipping on its head from what it used to be in years gone by. It used to be Labour would perform well with less educated voters, and the Tories or Liberals would perform well with better educated voters. Now we're living in a topsy-turvy land where it's Labour that's sort of the party of educated people, and I think it sort of goes back to that problem that left-wing politics has become inaccessible to a lot of people, and we don't have lots of, I'm saying this carefully, but as a hot take, we don't have lots of symbols that you can just point at and spam on everything and say that's the one symbol that says I'm a progressive, I'm a left-winger, whereas they can spam a flag everywhere and we all know exactly what they're trying to say.
Well, we all have different priorities on the left, and that is a big issue. I wish we could just be a little bit more like, okay, let's do all of them. Let's do the show right here. Fingers. But Femi, I was just going to ask Femi. You did an interview recently, didn't you? Where the presenter was absolutely. They're usually shit, and this is my point I was going to make about how a lot of the journalists that we get on TV don't ask those follow-up questions. They just go. They ask a question, and then Farage or whoever it is, Tice, they just give their stock standard answer that they always give, and there's no follow-up. They go, okay, thank you, and they go on to the next question. What it was Radio 5, was it? No, it couldn't be Radio 5. What were you on the other day, Femi?
I think it was LBC. It was about white privilege, right?
Yes, I think so. And you did a whole big video about it where you broke it down. You did like 3 videos about it. Was it that one?
Oh wait, you're talking about the one? No,
Nikki Campbell, was it?
Nikki Campbell.
Yeah, that's what I saw. I saw the other one, the white privilege one, where he said, "I'm not talking about white privilege," and then he just said exactly what he said he wasn't going to make it out to be. But yeah, I thought you explained that really well. But yeah, just the quality of our journalism in this country is fucking shocking. It's absolutely shocking.
So with the 2 different constraints there with the BBC 5 Live with Nikki Campbell, the issue there is the BBC's concept of balance. He feels he has to a certain extent, bring in the ridiculous ideas of the right, of the Brexiteers, and then allow them to be demolished by people like me. But unfortunately, because he knows that then comes off like he's being too pro-Remain, he gave her more time, which allowed her to say ridiculous stuff, and then got lots of angry callers basically showing how stupid she is. But it still means that you then get misinformation that gets out unchallenged because they've had more time to spew that, especially as the fact is, what's the phrase? A lie gets around the world while the truth is still putting its pants on. If you don't give us enough time to fact check the stuff, we're not going to be able to fact check it. But with LBC, it was just straight up ignorance and bias. He invited me on to discuss the concept of white privilege. I knew exactly where the conversation was going to go, and so I cut him off at the pass by getting him to agree that if you've got a working class brother and sister, the brother has male privilege relative to his sister because he can do X, Y, Z, walk through a dark alley, get promoted more likely at work, etc. And he admitted that, but then he said, but he wouldn't call them privilege. Okay, so you understand the difference between having privilege and being privileged. And so once he'd admitted that, he couldn't then continue to make his argument. And so he kept just butting up against his own admissions over and over again.
I watched that clip, and I was like bemused by the fact that the presenter could not actually admit that there is an admission of guilt there, and then like laying it over when you came to white privilege. I was like, mate, can you not see that? Can you not?
They can't seem to remember. It's like when you called up help desk and they just went through a flowchart on the phone to you. It's like whatever you said for the last answer, that doesn't matter. You've gone on to the next question now, and that's it. Do you know what I mean? And it's so frustrating. You never really get presenters. They're not even. I don't know if you can call them journalists, but presenters on TV and the radio. Actually having a conversation where it's a discussion. It's just. I've got 10 questions to ask. Who they are.
It was that old. Sorry, but no. Yeah. There is no but after a sorry. You can't.
Can I just interrupt you before you get your flow going? I'm going to go. It's been
something I said, Mike. Or have you got better thing to do because you're in Spain and it's such a better place?
Normally I bail out because of illness. I'm bailing out because I'm in a lovely hotel with a lovely girlfriend. And you guys, I love you very much, but I don't think you quite.
Well, give our thanks to Maria for lending you to us for a little bit. And also, hang on.
More southern than Brighton.
All right, wait. Now. Mike, thanks very much for coming on. And shout out to Maria and love to the family. Genuinely love to the family, not Colin from Portsmouth style, but I hope you're having a great time over there. When you back? When you're back in Blighty?
I'm coming back. I fly back on Tuesday. So.
Okay, all right. Well, make the most of it, mate. You have a great night.
Good night. You're gonna see us next Tuesday.
That's exactly what he's gonna do.
With the guy in LBC, it was obvious that right from the start, because you could see it in his face. He went like, "Oh yeah," so he realized that he was wrong. And I do like when you can see that they were actually processing what you're saying. I think the best example of that is that one with Dawn Butler, when she's talking to that Conservative MP about trans issues.
Oh God, that was amazing.
Exactly.
I reposted that the other day. Go on. Yep.
And she basically said, well, often we talk about trans women in women's bathrooms, but we never talk about about trans men and how biologically, in terms of chromosomes, they're likely to be they're likely to be female, which means that if you're going by this whole, you have to use the bathroom that corresponds to your sex, chromosomes, etc., then that means that you're going to have trans men who will visually look like stereotypically men having to use the women's bathrooms because they have the genetics of a woman. And he was just like, but hang on. And he fully zoned out for a good 10 seconds just on camera, just like, wait, what? Yeah. It was giving Russell Brand looking for a Bible verse.
Oh God! Oh my God!
Oh Lord!
If you check out the one who's they've cut it in with him reading a children's book, and he's like he's flipping through the pages of a children's book. It's hilarious. Well, we got a couple of super chats first. So we got Miss Paula Thomas come in with £5 super chat. One of the interesting questions about the far right is what happens if Farage drops dead? Can anyone see Tice or anyone else carrying the movement? No, they're Faragists. That's what we should call them. I mean, we call them refuckers. That's a bit rude, but you can call them Faragists because it's the same with America. If Trump dies, MAGA's over. End of. No one's going to follow J.D. Vance or Stephen Miller or what's his name, Peter Thiel into the Valley of Death. Of course they're not.
I don't know. I would say the thing is that why does Farage exist? Like, why do the far right influencers like Andrew Tate exist? They don't exist because there was organic demand for them. They exist because some very rich blighters in some country or another decided that they didn't like paying tax, and so they started pushing this kind of politics that would justify, ultra capitalism, pro corporate politics, anti-democratic values. The last thing you want is people being empowered, because if the working class are actually empowered, they might actually start asking for some rights, and we can't have that. You've got Reform already basically saying they'll roll back.
They're going to get rid of the renters' right. They're going to get rid of the workers' rights. They're just going to get rid of the human rights. Just all the rights.
So there's big business like GB
Bring back
News.
Fox hunting.
GB News has never made a penny in profit. It has always been a money loser. The real customers aren't the people viewing it. They're not the consumers. The customers are the billionaires buying the right
influence
to preach to an audience. Yeah. Nigel Farage just happens to be the best shill they've got, because unlike most people who have clearly, have historically expressed Nazi viewpoints, unlike most of them, he's canny enough to know that you have to keep that mostly quiet. But there's...
and to your point, I would like to see Nigel Farage with a dartboard of the British Isles, and then him chuck an arrow at fucking Clacton. Yeah. I'd love it. It would never happen.
Look, if you want to avoid Nigel, go to Clacton.
Yeah. The only time he wasn't on Question Time, it was when it was in Clacton. It was that he had a week off. Unbelievable. And we got a load of super chats come in. Thank you very much to Chris C for the £5 super chat. A recent NHS study estimates that 43% of the UK population have a reading ability at or below that of a typical 7 to 9 year old. Lee, thank you very much. The £10 super chat, thank you very much. Is Wayne not on his milk float because he's lost his bottle? Just like Arsenal. Well done, Lee. Well done, Lee.
That's a double-edged sword. I'm going to get
That's just not fair.
Right,
Lee's in timeout.
Very good. Very good. No, Lee's all right. Lee's all right. Darian, thank you very much for the £10 super chat there for Dizz's Confetti addiction, and that means the goal has been achieved, which means 3, 2, 1, Confetti! Yay! Woo! Confetti! Yay! Sorry, going back to what were we talking about? I've forgotten. I've lost it now.
Reading age.
Reading ages. No, before then.
Before that.
We're talking about shit journalists in the UK.
By the way,
oh God, Wayne's going to want to talk about the round ball. Go on.
Femi's also an Arsenal fan, so he digging out our guest as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Lee's from like he's like a Plazzy Mank. He's like nearly from Manchester, but not quite.
Right, so I'm gonna double down on my double cunt.
You gotta get us demonetized. It's my excuse. I'm sick of it.
I tried to ask you how long we was in before we.
You called me this afternoon, and luckily I wasn't in the car driving with me phone on speakerphone. I said hello, Chester Zoo, and you replied with, "Oh, you can't."
What do you expect of me?
I'm never answering the phone to you ever again, Wayne. You're just gonna have to text me. It's too dangerous. I don't know what's gonna happen. It's like trying to pick up a bloody landmine. I don't know what's gonna happen. Anyway,
it's a hand grenade of C-bomb.
Yes, on YouTube it's a little bit funny about things. It's still very prudish. Does anyone watch The Boys, the TV show? The Boys.
No.
Right, it is ridiculously violent, hilariously violent, right? And they can actually swear in it, which is a bit different from an American TV show. And there's male nudity in it, which is fine because the guy goes around killing people with his cock, right? But there's no female nudity in it, and it's really funny how Americans are like quite prudish. They always have been. You had that TV show 24 where Jack Bauer used to go around like torturing people every week, but he never went in the loo, he never said shit, and you never saw his cock.
Scott needs to...
I have something to say on this one.
Go on.
When I moved here, for in 1993, I remember being up. We were here maybe 2 weeks.
Euro trash.
No, it wasn't. So it was, but it was some program of some description. This was before the flag came on and God Save the Queen came on. There was this TV show, and both it was a man and a woman, and they were both completely naked. I woke my mom up. I was like, Mom! Look on the TV. There's a naked man on the TV. I was like, we're in Europe now. This is what they do in Europe. You know what I mean? I'm like, wow, this is so European. I mean, I wrote, obviously it's 1993, so I was writing my friends back at home. I went, oh my God, there was a naked man on the television, you know. Male nudity in America. So if I'm not mistaken, full frontal male nudity, if it's in a movie, it probably is going to be X or NC-17 or whatever that is now, automatically. The cable networks, so the HBOs, Showtime, and all that sort of stuff, they get away with it for some reason because of the subscriber service, but then they would still have a watershed time where they'd be able to show that. So, you know, if The Boys was on HBO, let's say, it would be at like midnight. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
Scott, just for clarity, you are allowed to show a male penis flaccid, but if you show a lob on, you're done.
Yeah.
Well, the hidden eyes has said, wait, and then capitals. What is Graham talking about? I missed what he said. Cox killings? What? Just the funniest message ever. But yeah, so there was a movie that came out about 10 years ago, probably a bit longer than 10 years ago, with Steve Coogan and Judi Dench called Philomena. And in the UK, it got a 12 certificate, right? In America, they wanted to give it an NC-17 certificate. And this is a movie, it's got no violence, no nudity. It's just this little old lady trying to reconnect with her lost son, who was her baby was taken from her when she was a young woman. And they wanted to give it an NC-17 rating because they say the C-bomb in it. In one part of the movie. Yeah. And they're like, that's it. NC-17. It's the only way.
It's giving big sort of like 2010s. We can't classify this game because it's too violent, and therefore that's going to be the reason that we get school shootings. It's like, guys, you have legal assault rifles. I feel like that might be the problem.
Oh, you know what freaked me out today about that whole thing with Trump, that planned execution of assassination, that stage thing that they did at the correspondence.
And you're worried about me getting demonetized.
He has never gone to a correspondence dinner. Funnily enough, at this one, something bad happens. And then, call me a conspiracy theorist. That's fine. Listen.
Now we need to.
He went on to
what's your feelings on the moon landing? Sorry.
I actually have feelings about that.
No, Scott, no, Scott, no. It's a hard no.
Very upset about that.
Hard no. We're not going down that route again.
Scott, where were you last night? Where were you last night, mate?
Oh, that is literally none of your business. So I was at but it had a lot to do with what we were talking about earlier. So anyway, President Trump, he comes on the TV, right? And well, with this shooting, it really means one thing. We need to build the ballroom. And I just thought,
look, we were saying this earlier.
That's crazy.
You have got a clairvoyant president, because not only did he come out and say that right after nearly being shot again, and I have to put the word again and underline it. After nearly being shot again, he revealed that this was always his master plan. He was building the ballroom so he wouldn't get assassinated. It's mind-blowing.
I've got to tell him something, because the thing is, before he became president, no one tried to shoot him. Maybe that's the connection, Donny. Maybe you should stop being president, and then people stop trying to shoot you.
Do you know what is hilarious about it? The fact that this cunt came out with the spec of the ballroom. He's like, we've got this much glass, it's this thick.
He was talking about the bulletproof glass and everything, right? It was an insanity. Window. And it just goes to show how deluded and weird these MAGA people are. It's just like, maybe we should talk about guns. No. We don't need to talk about the guns. I just need to talk about how I can protect myself.
I know British people are, obviously we are a little bit class obsessed, but those people who vote for Trump, and Trump himself, he's got no class whatsoever. He's got no decorum.
He wants to make
it
gold,
no taste.
The whole thing gold.
He has no idea about proportion or context or anything. Like the design of that fucking arch with a gaudy $1 souvenir gold-plated Statue of Liberty with fucking wings.
It's like a 17-year-old
wings on the Statue of Liberty. She's not a fucking angel.
I would not have been surprised if that prick would have walked out with a Haynes manual of the ballroom and the fucking arch. Yeah,
he pretty much did. He was talking about the size it's going to be, and like,
I know, it's ridiculous. It's like, bruv, you nearly got shot.
Yeah.
Apart from that,
you can see his taste level. It's in what he did to the Oval Office, where how it is so subtly changed into what would probably be one of his hotel rooms. The gaudy gold filigree and it just it looks like Liberace's
Saddam Hussein chic, they call it.
Yeah. Also, elephant in the room. Kash Patel fucking brown nosing the fuck out of his life.
That is not a term I've ever heard before.
Does not want
Isn't
to be
Kash
sacked.
Patel taking the Atlantic to court for like 50 million squillion
No,
dollars for saying that he turns up? And they've got like 20 people saying he turns up drunk and he doesn't know what he's doing and he's thick as big shit.
They jogged it on. They literally jogged it on and went, no, fuck off, mate.
Wow.
You gotta love the freedom of speech, though. Like the commitment to freedom of speech from people on the right is just incredible. You know, it's unbelievable. Like you express an opinion, and
they shut you down.
Yeah, and then if you say anything back, it's like freedom. I have the right to express an opinion, and it's like we would just like you might be having a discussion. The worst discussions are the ones where you're actually trying to get into anything scientific or mathematical, because there are people who really seem to think that their opinion overrides like provable fact, and you end up saying like, I understand that you have an opinion, but your opinion can be wrong.
But if you look at Kash Patel over, he was Trump's right shoulder. He looked dishevelled and fucked anyway.
I did like the video of him in the ballroom, like, yeah, as you say, brown loading. He was terrified. There's no doubt about it. Yeah. But at the same time, right, I'm not going to begrudge a man being terrified when they hear gunshots. I'm not, because that's some scary stuff So, these people, they actually care about their own lives. They don't care about anybody else's, but they care about their own, So give him some credit for actually having his own empathy for himself.
Miss Paula Thomas has been in the chat. Thank you very much. Hang on a sec, Wayne. Miss Paula Thomas, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. As I said before, Trump, stop destroying the White House. That's our job. War of 1812. That's why the White House is white. We
Deep cut.
may have burnt it down. If you're going to take credit for all the stuff that we did, 2 world wars and 1 World Cup, you got to take the blame for all the horrible things that we did. But they don't want to teach that.
Speaking of World Cup,
the refuck fuckers were talking about what they want to do with education, and they want every time for something to be taught about slavery being wrong. They want to give an example of a different culture that also had slavery. Every time. And it's like, what, why? And there's someone who's a history graduate. Fuck off. It's as mad as when they were saying, don't pull down a statue, that no one will know the history. I'm like, no one knows fucking... Who learns history from
there's a brilliant sketch.
statue?
I love
get an A-level.
I love the argument of, black people sold people into slavery. It's like, okay, yeah, so it makes it all right then.
There's a really good sketch by Matt Green, who's kind of done a bit on this. Like, okay, we'll do a comparison every time that we talk about the British Empire doing slavery. We'll talk about Genghis Khan, or we'll talk about or Boris Johnson has loads of kids. Let's look at Genghis Khan.
Yeah,
it's like that's a really good sketch.
Sorry, Femi, you were going to come in there. Yeah.
So 2 points on that. The response to that policy is to say, all right, every time we talk about something good the UK has done, we have to talk about something good another country has done as well. Like if that's your genuine plan, you have to do both. And the other thing about the black people, so people in strawberry as well. I love that because recently somebody asked Nigel Farage, was he having his press conference on the anniversary of Enoch Powell's Rivers of Blood speech intentionally? To which his response, completely unprovoked, was, I think anybody that thinks that we're going in a racist direction, the sheer number of ethnic minority candidates that we're fielding in London, it's really quite remarkable. Then he said, we don't talk about it. We just don't. We don't make a big song and dance about it. Sorry, you are doing that right now. Nobody asked you about the color of your candidates.
Yeah,
you are doing that right now.
And
which is let me finish the point. And so it takes you back to the whole. But black people sold in slavery. You're using the fact that you have black people working for you as proof that what you're doing isn't racist, whilst pointing to historical advantages that people will occasionally go against their own interests and the interests of the people that look like them for money.
Yeah.
Femi, to your point, this is absolutely solidifies something that I've had to deal with recently. There's a guy who was a Tory councillor in my ward, who then got kicked out by the Tories. He then joined Reform, and then got kicked out by them because he was a little bit too racist, and then had the arse to say, well, his latest post was, I can't believe you're trying to field so many brown people and trying to be anti-immigrant when you're adding immigrants to your politics. And I was like, bruh, just say it with your face off. Like, you're an absolute racist cunt.
Yeah.
Be real.
But I've got to say, Labour put out a thing this week where it was like,
sorry, it's not reform, it's the other lot.
Yeah, advance or
no, something or other. Restore. Yeah, he's one of them.
Well, there was a thing this week where sorry, what were we talking about? I've forgotten. I've lost my thread, Wayne. God damn it!
We were talking about exploitation. You were talking about ethnic minority candidates, reform standing them, using them as an excuse.
Oh yeah, about Farage.
Oh, look at you keeping on track.
Yeah, no, he's on board.
Wow,
we got one of those.
No, Farage is he's at the cursed monkey paw, isn't he? People vote for him thinking he's going to bring down immigration, and the immigration goes through the fucking roof. People vote for him thinking we're going to get more sovereignty. We get less sovereignty than ever before. People are going to vote for him thinking he's going to save the NHS, and he's going to absolutely fuck the NHS and make it, free at the point of service. And then you're saddled with a £50,000 bill for having a fucking miscarriage, like what happens in America.
Technically, you see, Brexit didn't cause immigration to spike because we haven't properly Brexited. If only we leave the ECHR, it'll work much better the next time. It's much like having a headache. If you've got a headache and you hit yourself in the head with a hammer, you won't have a headache anymore. And if you still have a headache, hit yourself in the head again, and eventually it'll work.
Yeah.
It's like, this is literally the logic that we're being asked to buy here. This thing that has never worked, this thing that has damaged Britain in so many ways, is somehow going to work better if we do more of it.
But I've got to say, Labour's video this week where they were like, don't vote for Refoot because they're racists, right? I just have the feeling that's going to make people who are racist go, oh, okay. And they're going to vote for them. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if that's the thing. I think what they should go after Farage for is the fact that he has all this money. And make it really obvious that he is just in politics to feather his own nest. And there are so many examples of how much money he's made. Needle him on that.
Talk about crypto. Keep talking about the crypto thing, because one of the lessons that we've got to take away from the Hungarian election, it goes back to that point we were discussing earlier.
It was the corruption that brought down Orban, not him being anti-LGBT. The guy who has replaced him used to be part of the same fucking party, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, We've got to make left-wing politics way more accessible than it currently is, because we're basically asking people to do so much reading to get into the left.
Do some research.
And we're checking them on stuff that they might not know about, and they would have no business to know about if they've not been deep into this stuff for 10 years. But, we've got to try and make it accessible, because essentially there's a simple narrative here that makes a lot of sense and cuts through. And I experiment with my stuff all the time. I see what resonates and what doesn't. The racism thing only matters to people who weren't voting for Farage anyway. And yeah, it matters to them. But what will matter to a lot of people who were thinking of Farage, it is the corruption, it's the avarice, it's the fact that he's trying to sell cryptocurrency rather than actually trying to sell them on anything that benefits them. Like he's raking in millions of pounds of donation money from a guy called Christopher Harborne who loves his country so much that he moved 6,000 miles away.
Well, there's an element of that. There's the stuff about Farage being corrupt and selling crypto, selling all that sort of stuff, and gold bullion and all that stuff. That may cut through. But the main issue you've got in terms of Labour versus Farage is everything that you can point to in terms of Farage. You can just his supporters will think, but this politician did that, or they all take money, or blah 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 blah. The only thing you can nail Nigel Farage on is the only thing on his CV. The only thing on his political CV is Brexit. And he himself pushed for Brexit for 27 years, saying it'll make people's lives better. And he has himself admitted, and his party has admitted, that it has made people poor. I have all the clips of them doing this. That is a matter of objective fact. So the best way for Labour, if they wanted to take Nigel Farage on, would be to say, Nigel Farage promised Brexit would make you better. We fundamentally oppose this, but they haven't. And this pivot that they're doing towards opposing Brexit doesn't work because it's the same strategy that Corbyn employed, of supporting Brexit for years because he thought he needed to win the election, realizing as time went on that his voter base hated Brexit and it was going to make people poorer, and then gradually pivoting towards opposing Brexit towards the election, by which point you've lost the trust because you've said things like, we will never rejoin the single market in my lifetime. And so he can't pivot to a position where he's going to be like, well, Nigel Farage gave you Brexit and Brexit made you poor because you've been in charge of our Brexit policy for the past 5 years. So that's why he can't beat Nigel Farage.
Yeah. I will eat my hat if Keir Starmer is still leader come the next general election.
I personally think this is something as an observation. This is completely anecdotal to me and my life. When it comes to racism, it's when you say to someone you're racist, they say now, and or so, instead of am I? Do you know what I mean? It's like whatever.
Well, Wayne, when I lived in Australia, that was the thing that really made me not like the place. It was because in the UK, yeah, there's racists, but they'll usually say, I'm not a racist, but, and then say something racist, right? In Australia, they just came out with it, like to complete strangers, and you're like, what do you think? I'm going to enjoy you saying this to me? You don't even fucking know me, and
but that's how we're getting now. Yeah, right. Like because people will say they'll drop P words, they'll use N words near me, and be like, "Oh, that mean you, bro? You're all right. You're all right." That kind of thing, and I'm like, "I'm not all right when I'm about to put my fist in your face."
I mean, the challenge, I think, is in a lot of ways, the challenge we've got is that cruelty has become cool in a big section of politics. Like, cruelty is the point. I mean, if you look at Trumpism, what is the core of Trumpism? It's cruelty. The kids in cages is kind of a selling point to a lot of Trump supporters.
That's why I don't think saying that they're racist is going to work, because they're like, help. Oh, good, I like that. I can be horrible again. Sorry, Femi, go on.
So calling somebody racist is never going to be the answer. Explaining why what they're doing is racist is the answer. Just because the word racist, that they've been called that before. Someone needs to explain to them how they're racist, and then you might get somewhere. However, I'll say 2 points in 2 different directions. One is be careful about assuming that everybody on who is tempted in that direction is automatically racist, because the best thing about the campaign that I did in 2018, 2019 was going to the high streets of places that voted for Brexit, speaking to them and understanding why they did it, and understanding that they are not the caricatures that you see on Question Time. They're not the caricatures you see online. I was having conversation after conversation where I'd say, what did you want from Brexit? They'd say a combination of better NHS, a way out of poverty, more control over my laws. And then I'd explain, all right, this is the Brexit deal we're being offered. Here's how it doesn't correspond to your objectives. If it's not going to meet what you wanted, would you like a second chance to vote on it? Yes. Had that conversation hundreds of times. Far more reasonable. So assuming that the racist isn't the answer. However, because they went through 3 years under Boris Johnson and that chaos, watching Nigel Farage lead them in a direction that was just utter chaos, because they went through the 5-6 years since, where they've seen Brexit make them objectively poor, and they know Brexit has made them poor. The idea that they can vote for Nigel Farage again on the good faith belief that he will improve their quality of life and help them with the cost of living is simply for the birds. They know he's not going to actually help them, which means the only, by simple deduction, reason for them voting for him is because of what he says about minorities. That's it. That's all that's left. So if you are supporting Nigel Farage now, it means you're okay with racism, by definition.
To your point, Femi, I think there's something really in there, and you're right. You know, I think there's a danger in caricaturing his supporters in that way. And actually, you get a lot of people say, I'm not racist if I vote Reform. And that's true to an extent for some people, or it was. But, I mean, it goes back to a conversation I had actually, again, in my council ward on a litter pick. A couple comes up to me and starts talking, and they figure out I'm a councillor. They ask, which party are you? And I hesitantly say, you know, I'm Labour. I'm one of your Labour councillors. And they go, oh, we thought you were Reform. We were worried. And then, you know, start talking to them. They were the kind of folk who could easily have gone Reform previously. Why have they flipped against Reform? Why have they turned on them? It's the council tax. Reform had put their council tax up by nearly 9% in Worcestershire, and that's what did it. For a lot of people who voted Reform in 2025, it was on that economic promise of, we're going to cut your waste, we're going to fix your councils, we're going to cut your council tax. That's really appealing to a lot of people who are, in working class communities, who are struggling with the cost of living, who want to be able to get a doctor's appointment and are struggling. You're absolutely right, Femi. It's like those are the kitchen table issues that are motivating this stuff. They've been promised. A lot of them have been promised as the secondary offer that booting loads of immigrants out of the country will somehow fix everything because there'll be less demand on services or something. Obviously ignoring the fact that things like the NHS rest heavily on the labour provided by people who are first and second generation British. So it's like, we've got a lot of unpicking to do, but there is a way forwards if we can sort of get that story across of, cost of living. Reform will absolutely make it much worse for you. Look at what they've done to places like Worcestershire, and then saying, here's the alternative.
Can I just sort of like have a little pushback on that?
Sure.
Because when for me, my formula when it comes to sort of like talking about local politics is like, what happened today? What happened today? What did you experience today? So it removes all of this like this criteria of all the immigrants coming over and all that. Bruv, when you walked out your house, what did you see? You saw a bin outside your house on the day that it weren't supposed to be put out. Right? Concentrate on that, and let's focus on your everyday life, because most people like don't care about immigration. They don't care about all these like big sort of like what's the word I'm looking for? These kind of nebulous things that are supposed to have an impact on their life. But when it comes down to it, you're walking to work, you're going to work, you do your job, you come home, you pay for your pint of milk and whatever. Yeah, that's what matters.
I know. The challenge
you're being told so many times that this shit is like causing you bother, and it ain't.
And it isn't. Yeah.
It's the challenge we've got is like, if I go at someone in Worcester and I say, okay, this is and what you're describing is a trick I use. Well, I say a trick. It's a strategy I used on the doorstep when I was being confronted in like 2022, 2023, and I had a gentleman talking to me about immigration and about all of that, and I said, okay, how's that impacting on your life in Worcester? And he just took a step back and went, oh, and wasn't able to answer. And he could see my point, and he immediately sort of flipped and said, yeah, I see your point. But I don't think if I pulled that stunt today that it would go the same way. What they would actually say is, yeah, but what about the Founds Hotel where they're keeping all the asylum seekers? That's where they would go with it. And because they've been coached with this kind of stuff, and we've got some work to do to try and unpick the coaching.
I was told by some fuck geezer, what about the hotel in Epping? Right? I live in Basildon. Right? It's a hotel in Epping, and that's a commercial decision that place has made. I couldn't give a shit.
Has Scott fallen asleep? Oh no, he's awake. Good. Sorry,
We're
Scott.
very interesting.
I'm listening.
No, but what I'm
Listening
saying
intently.
We have all of these nuances that are fed to us that we're supposed to get excited about, but in reality, it doesn't matter on our everyday life. What actually matters is like looking up at the petrol price and going, "Oh shit, $1.99? What the fuck?"
Yeah.
I'll never forget a conversation that I had with a guy in Worcester, an hour-long conversation with a Brexiteer who had reached out to me on Twitter, and the quote is, because we're talking about immigration, and he said, if we're all on £1,000 a week, none of us care. It is people's material. They have been taught that because of the scarcity, because of the poverty that they can see all around them, the idea of there being more people coming in from abroad means they're going to have to share more with more people, and they're going to less to go around. If we're all on £1,000 a week, none of us would care. And this would makes the narrative of people like Nigel Farage so insidious, because they support policies which make people poor, and then they say, "Oh, there's nothing to go around. There's so little in this country. You can't afford to share with these foreigners." And it's just a vicious circle. And that's why any politician, Labour included, who starts facilitating this narrative that stopping the boats, stopping immigration is the way to improve living standards, you're just creating a rod for your own back.
Yeah.
Well, little thought experiment. If we were to close all of our borders, all of our islands, just put a moat around the UK, and then give everyone UBI, say £2,000 a month. Who are we going to pick on next? Everyone gets £2,000 a month. Everyone gets £2,000 a month.
Well, they'll say there's people coming from other countries and getting their money for free.
We've got a moat. We've got a moat. Just all of us here.
The thing is that they will always find someone to beat down on, because the whole structure of authoritarian power is the deal, the social contract that authoritarians are offering you is, you don't like that guy, I'll knock the lights out of him if you vote for me. And they'll keep doing that. They'll keep running down the list again and again and again, and they'll keep blaming a new person or a new group for all of your problems. And
what do we do when we neutralise the punch down upon? What do we do? What do we do? How can they then maintain their structure if we say, sorry lads, there's no more room at the inn?
I think it's challenging. Like it's like, it goes back to that question of what happens if you get rid of Nigel Farage. They'll make another one. That's kind of how there's a lot of money in this, and I think if you want to understand, you have to follow the money.
It reminds me of so like the traditional poem that we'd all cite now would be that poem from the Second World War. First they came for X, then they came for this, etc. I actually prefer the Chris Rock version from, I think it's from the 2000s. Because he was talking about how America was talking about these illegal immigrants, all these foreigners, and Chris Rock said, and by the way, I'm gonna have to use the letters here rather than the actual words he used, and then I started listening because I know N's and J's is next.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah. The thing that we talk about toxic nostalgia, this idea that people want to go back to this fictional time that never actually existed. And when you talk to a lot of the older generation, not all boomers, I know, but like the old generation, they pretend that they grew up in this world where everyone was white, and they didn't. Yeah. I mean, maybe you could argue that everyone on TV was white back then, but there was a racial mix. The Windrush, right? Didn't it go back? Its first voyage to the Caribbean was to repatriate 500 servicemen and maybe women as well who had served with the RAF during World War II. Yeah. And so the people would have, especially growing up somewhere like Liverpool or London or Birmingham or Newcastle or somewhere where we had people coming from all over the world. This was nothing new. We've got the oldest mosque in Britain is in Liverpool. We've got the oldest Chinatown in Europe is in Liverpool as well. And like this idea that there was a time when I was a child when you only saw white. I'm like, it never happened. It's a fantasy.
So I think where there is truth in that is if you live in an area that is exclusively white, which there still are now.
Hello.
Very rural. Yeah. If you live in
it's not Wayne, is it? Because you live there, mate.
Then when you factor in the time difference going back 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years, then you would have only seen white people on TV. So you would have just seen white people in your environment, white people on TV. So you literally would never see anybody with melanin. And so that's why phrases like what Sarah Pochin, the Reform MP, said of, it just drives me mad when I see adverts full of black people, full of Asian people. Because these talking to people that
I knew you were going to go
there.
Hater, absolutely hater.
It makes me die. The amount of effort and energy that people put in to counting the amount of non-white faces in adverts these days is fucking shocking.
And then they'll tell us they don't see colour.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh wow, and then I'll talk to him like, yeah, but it's not really a reality, is it? I'm like,
we just
can you see me? Can you actually? Can you see my actual face?
This is genuinely crazy. Like that she can say that and still be an MP. Like that should have been it. You know, this is like the moment where you say about Boris Johnson, all the shit he did. You go, that should have been it. Or Trump, when he did an impression of a disabled reporter in the run up to the election, or when it came out that the grabbed them by the pussy tape, or the, you know, that should have been it. Where's the point? Where's the point where these motherfuckers actually face the consequences of their actions?
Right.
So,
and all of their fans, all they want is to have that same power.
Graham,
nobody's expressed it better than Boris Johnson. It was when he said, I've got this new strategy. You see, I just make so many gaffes. They just don't know which one to concentrate on. You can just steal on and drop your depth charges where you it's to make so many errors
Flood
that
the zone.
But that's why it's aspirational. That's why people like Johnson and Farage and Trump, because they're rich, they're obnoxious, they're horrible people, and they get away with it. That doesn't happen in normal life.
I think one of the
lose your job.
Sorry.
No.
I would just like to point out that this is the sort of chat that goes on in every single like football team that I've ever played for. The banter that goes on, that is the mainstream. That is the mainstream. And I sit there and go, oh, do you know what? Can I kick off right now? I can't be asked. Do you know what? I just want to get showered and fucking dressed and just go and fucking win 4-0 or whatever. But I hear that conversation every single time, and that is the mainstream. And what people don't want to sort of acknowledge is that that's who they are. And when you point it out to them and say, lads, that's not really right, they're not receptacle to that. They want to be like, oh no, you're my mate, Wayne, you're my mate. I like all brown people. I'm like, yeah. Until that geezer cuts you up on the roundabout and you call him a black. That, no, that is the mainstream. The mainstream is racist, misogynist, homophobic, transphobic. That is what we're dealing with.
Do you think it's the mainstream? I think it's the minority. I think it's a very vocal, obnoxious minority.
No. Okay, well then it seems to be a power structure that is endemic in our society right now.
It might be endemic in Essex.
What I would say is that it seems...
have a look at Parliament, bro. Have a look at Parliament.
Yeah. Go on, sorry.
I
was going to say, I think the problem you've got is basically bigotry has become cool to a lot of people. They feel like they can say this stuff and they're testing the waters. They're just seeing how far they can push it. And it's almost like a race to the bottom of who can push it the furthest. I think we've gone past a point where we had a sense of, like, if we're impotently waiting for the standards to kick back in and for Nigel Farage to get cancelled, that's not going to happen. Yeah. That's not how this goes. That's not the kind of politics that we're dealing with. You know, I'm sitting here as someone who has had 3 different formal complaints from 3 different Reform UK councillors because I simply reported back on what they said. You know, they are incredibly thin-skinned. They view standards, they view rules as weapons with which to exercise control against us. They don't necessarily see them as it's not like they want to play by the rules of a game or a football game. You know, from their perspective, they would love to be able to bring 3 times as many players onto the pitch and arm them with cricket bats. And they'd be fine with that if they thought they could do it and do it to you. But they don't like having it done back to them in any form at all. Even the mildest pushback gets the worst reactions out of them.
Yeah. So on that point about how standards essentially are dead and we shouldn't be expecting it to change, there's an element of truth in that, in the sense that things are pretty bad. However, it is a responsibility of those who have a platform and those, especially if you are a major politician, to push those standards back.
And that's it.
It is because our media and our politicians refuse to call a spade that the Overton window has shifted so far. So they're scared to call Nigel Farage racist and the Reform Party racist, even though objectively all the facts show that they are racist. You can't have Sarah Poachin saying it drives her mad when she's black and brown faces in TV adverts. You can't have Matt Goodwin saying that black and brown people aren't necessarily British. You can't have a party that was literally created by a woman who said that black people are inherently violent because of excess testosterone, and then say, oh, but we need to give the other side. It'd be wrong if we called them racist. No, it's objective. And because you allow that to be considered to be a grey area of maybe not racist, that then changes us, and shifts the general conversation into racism.
Yeah. If telling the truth has become radical and brave, then that's what we have to be. We have to be radical and brave and just tell the truth. I mean, again, one of the complaints that I had against me was characterizing Alan Amos as being far right. And I said, well, look at his politics. They are far right. Like his politics are exclusionary. His politics are that of Reform UK. That is very much of his party. But I feel like we are in a place right now where if you allege someone is of the far right or racist, you get questioned far harder than they do. At no point does the conversation flip around and say, okay, was there something to it?
So before we go on, Femi, can you have a go on your microphone? It's still like really. It sounds like there's too much power going into it or something. It's.
Oh, okay. So it's too boosted.
Yeah.
Femi,
well, maybe because it's quite it's given like staticky noise.
I just want to put a point to you, Femi, because this is something that I get massively when I see your appearances on TV and radio, I get so frustrated, especially with the likes of Mike Graham and the other Mike.
Is that the guy who said we could grow concrete?
Yeah, and what's his partner? The two Mikes on Channel 5.
Mike Hunt. Possibly, I don't know.
Absolute child. What a child.
Me, I'll be like, bro, you've just been out and out racist. Like, just I'll hold it up and tell me you're not being racist whilst looking in this mirror. You know, how do you deal with that in a sense of like, you know, you can't be obtuse and you can't be like just proper offensive, but at the same time you need to get your point across and stay on the show, because otherwise they're just like they just can't.
Well, that's always a worry. I mean, Femi, we can't hear you at all now. Hello? No, whatever you've done, you turned it off. If you want a phone or a laptop, just unplug it and see if you can just do it through air.
Am I now?
There you go.
You're quite quiet, but it's all right.
Okay. I'll move up a bit.
Yeah, that's much better.
There you are.
It's not staticky anymore. Femi,
cool.
You used to be on the morning show, didn't you? Was it Jeremy Thingy?
I was on Jeremy Vine until they kicked me off. Because
what was
I
it they kicked you off for?
Things.
For saying things that were true, you bastard.
Essentially, I can only assume that it's that, because they just gradually moved me from the main show to the extra time show, and then gradually put me up against less and less influential people until eventually they just stopped booking me. So there was an editorial decision to phase me out. What that is, who knows? So, but yeah, you can't ever get angry, obviously, because if you're a black person or a woman,
yeah, coach. A black angry woman. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It's mysterious how often you just see that process playing out. It's exactly as you described. Like you see a newspaper outlet or like a channel. They're not racist, but they just keep on platforming more and more people who are, and then they platform less and less of other people challenging them. And it's like
right.
Yeah.
So Ed, what you said about how do you flip things back? That is this is how you go on the attack. You have to say, and I did this once with on LBC. You name the fact. So whether it's saying that black and brown people aren't necessarily English, whether it's saying that black people are inherently violent, whether it's saying it makes jabs you mad when you see black and brown faces on TV adverts, and then you ask the person who's questioning you, do you consider this to be far right or not? Do you consider this to be racist or not? And if they say they don't consider it to be racist, and make them say yes or no. If they say then okay, so you think that that's not far right. You think that is acceptable. And that establishes them as far right, and then you can let the audience make up their own mind. If they think that's acceptable, they lose.
Yeah, yeah. It's infuriating that we only have a few decent voices on the left going on telly and actually challenging these motherfuckers and not just handing them a mic to say whatever they want, and then you know you get that you don't get a phone call anymore off that particular show.
You know what's more infuriating though is when you
Crocs.
see
Crocs are more infuriating.
Oh no! When you see brown faces defending it, and it's like there are so many now that they are recruiting to the likes of the Jeremy Vine show and other
and that again.
And, there's one lady on GBB's. Oh, she's awful. Like she's an African lady, and she's like, "Oh, I'm proud African."
Was this Nana?
And then just ridicules everyone who's got any melanin in their skin. It says, "Oh, you need to do this. You need to," and it's the I don't want to say the word because Graham knows I can say the word because
but not on my channel, please.
Yeah, but the
use rhyming slang.
Yeah.
No, don't even do that. Can we say the Samuel L. Jackson character in the movie Django Unchained? Do you want to? Is that what you mean? Okay, let's just say that.
The house brown
dodged a bullet there.
Well, by the way, you can say Uncle Tom. Uncle Tom isn't going to get you back.
That's what I'm saying. They bring these people on, and then they make the whole raison d'etre is to make you feel that you cannot say stuff about the people that you are aligned to, because if you do, you're wrong.
Yeah. Miss Paula Thomas. Oh, sorry, Femi, go
on. So on that point, we shouldn't be having that debate anymore because it's already been proven. Dominique Samuels, the black woman who used to write for the Daily Mail, she blew the whistle on how the Daily Mail would basically write racist articles and then pay her to put her name to it. So the notion of the right-wing establishment simply paying black people to say racist stuff on their behalf, to essentially blackwash racism, that's proven at the highest level of the British right-wing establishment. The Daily Mail did it, and one of the journalists has confirmed that. So we should never be like, oh, what do we do? We've got Priti Patel or Femi Badenoch saying blah, blah, blah.
There's also an element of just...
Femi, look, as case in point, look at the eggshells that I'm trying to dance over to not get us blackballed on this particular show. Because if I say it, like Graham gets demonetized, and it's like it's true. You've literally just like highlighted it, but I'm sitting there going, oh, I can't really say that because why?
Yeah, but also there's something quite pernicious about these channels and outlets and newspapers using black commentators to make these really right-wing points. It's very difficult for a white person to then argue against them, because it's like the way that this is something to do. I think, Femi, you might have mentioned this when you were talking about what white privilege was. When you talk about every single black person represents the entire black community, in the same way every Muslim represents every Muslim on earth. It never happens with white people. It's never like, oh, there was a white person with a gun. Oh, we need to keep an eye on those white people doing white people things.
No, exactly.
So yeah, I had that. So the notion of it being difficult for a white person to question a Kemi Badenoch type when they're spewing racism. I've faced that same challenge when it comes to how anti-Semitism has been handled since October 7th. When you've got prominent Jewish figures saying X. And my argument, and this is the thing, I'm not making this argument purely for me. I have listened to Jewish people who have been on those marches with us against Israel, saying that every time you imply that criticizing Israel is the same as criticizing all Jewish people, you're implying that all Jewish people are somehow morally tied to the actions of the Israeli government, which can only bring hatred against Jewish people. So somebody, even though you're Jewish, saying something that is claiming to speak for all Jews, you're actually endangering Jewish people. And I don't say that as purely me. I say that as I am using my platform to amplify the voices of Jewish people who have also said what you're saying is only making life harder for us. So I get your point about being difficult to question a Kemi Badenoch, etc. But if you're doing it from the base of, I've heard Black people say what you're saying is only making life harder for them, you can do that.
Femi, to your point, I've got two examples of two people from the extremes of each wing on that front. You got Sam Cedar of the Majority Report, who is a lefty Jewish guy. He wears his Jewishness out and out. And then you've got Dave Smith, who is a libertarian Jewish guy, who condemns everything that the Israeli government is doing. Both of them are Jewish. Both condemn everything that what is going on with the Israeli government with regards to their foreign policy, but they still. Their thing is, oh, you're a self-hating Jew. That's how they get shut down. It's like,
that's anti-Semitism, isn't it? Especially if it's not coming from a Jewish person to say. And Femi's made this point many times. Like, if you say, "Oh, well, this Jewish person said this," it's like thinking that one Jewish person represents all of Judaism and every single person who's Jewish, or 14 million Jews around the world, or whatever it is. It is anti-Semitic. In the same way that we're saying, oh, this Muslim who said this horrible thing, that must mean that all Muslims support this.
But this is my point. The two of them are coming from two different factions of debate, in the sense of one's right wing, one's left wing. They're saying, we don't really appreciate what the Netanyahu government is doing in our name. And yet both of them get branded as self-hating Jews because they don't agree with the orthodoxy.
So on that point, because I know that there are Jewish people who are on our side, because I've seen them on TikTok desperately saying, stop endangering us by aligning us with the Israeli government, I know that I can say I'm at the very least speaking for some Jewish people and platforming them. And then from there, I then think, all right, let's just say we don't know what percentage of Jewish people are pro-Israel and what percentage are against. Even if it was a case that 99% of Jewish people were massively pro-Israel, it is objectively better for the Jewish population if the Jewish population isn't considered to be responsible for genocide. Objectively. Objectively. So if your aim is to try and keep Jewish people safe, severing that link between them and the actions of the Israeli government is objectively a fight against anti-Semitism.
And I would say that Netanyahu is the biggest driver of anti-Semitism ever in the history of the world. Ed, go on.
I was going to say, just to that point, I think one of the things that we've really got to do is get back to the core principles, actually discuss the point rather than who's making it. You know, sometimes context matters, but sometimes we just need to actually say a point stands on its own logic or not, a question stands on its own logic or not. It doesn't matter if a racist argument is being made by a white or a black person. What matters is the contents of that argument. What matters is the contents of the facts. There was a fun council meeting where I got to say, and it's just one of those lines which just falls out of your mouth.
Hold up, Ed. You said a fun council meeting.
They do happen. They do happen. There's like a fun moment for me was when I got to say, it's like, the facts are our friends, because unlike political rhetoric, they tend to stay the same from day to day. And I think that's the thing I would say. We've got to get back to just talking about facts, about what's true. And the other thing I've found is, like, talking about asylum seekers. We're judging asylum seekers, or communities are judging asylum seekers based on the worst examples, rather than saying, these are individual people. If, you know, these are individual people, surely we should judge them as we find them, as individuals, because, you know, a son is not guilty of the sins of his father. If we can get back to those kinds of core principles and say, we'll judge people according to themselves, not according to their group, that takes a lot of the sting and a lot of the poison out of what the right wing is doing. Essentially, they've taken the identity politics of the 2010s and they've inverted it so that it's disempowering groups of people rather than empowering them. So in a sense, if we step away from identitarianism, we get back to actually having a more meaningful conversation about good principles.
So on that point directly, one of the points in terms of asylum seekers, of immigration, and the narrative around these foreigners coming here and the danger to our women stuff, given that it's something ridiculous in the space of maybe 70%, something like that, in terms of sexual assaults that are by somebody who is already well known to the individual. If we know that it's that, at that point, it means that the person, in terms of how you keep that person safe from the potential aggressor, that person as a person is by definition the victim is going to know more that person in ways that go far beyond that person's skin color. So it is not logical to make race the defining factor, given that the person actually knows the person as a person. Your point about making people's points being taken on their merit, not who is saying them. So this is where it comes to that conversation of can white people talk about race? Can men talk about feminism? I think it becomes a case of if your aim is to downplay the struggle of that group, you don't get to say if you're not experiencing the struggle of that group. I've often said, I remember a while ago, I once tweeted, because I went to private school, if you ever see me trying to downplay the struggles of working class people, I give you permission to punch me in the stomach.
Not the face, not the beautiful face.
The moneymaker.
Just it. That's what took out Houdini. You do know that, right? You're playing with fire there, Femi. But yeah, you made that point when you were talking about white privilege, when you said, you're privileged because you went to a private school, but you still don't have the privilege that a white kid who didn't go to private school has, because a white kid can walk down the street and not worry about someone racially abusing them. Which
I watched that just this week, and I was like, Femi's owning that, because he's a rugby fan and he went to private school, but he's not going to be treated the same as a private school educated white guy that likes rugby.
No.
100%, and you literally just went ball-faced, owned it.
Liam just put, Graham's having a midlife crisis kind of thing and changing everything. I'm not having I had a midlife crisis about 7 years ago. I left my private island, the Bikini Babes and the speedboats, and I'm now a suburban stepdad in County Durham. But we've got loads of super chats to go through. Sorry I've been ignoring them because I was sort of engrossed in the conversation here. Miss Paula Thomas, £10 super chat, thank you very much. The Somali community in London. They were seamen who settled here in the late 19th century. There have been black and Asian people in Britain for centuries. Yeah, obviously, like Shakespeare knew what a black person was because he wrote a play called Othello. Yomin Infectinov, thank you very much for being a member for 29 months. 29 months and I can't escape. Bruges! So thank you, sir. You are awesome. We've got Sarah saying, Femi, you're always welcome here, which is really sweet. And also, can I have your autograph, please? So, Sarah wants your autograph.
I'm the guy that signs stuff.
That's really sweet. And John, finally, I would love Femi to cover James O'Brien's holidays on LBC and maybe leading to his own show eventually.
I'll have a word Wednesday.
That would be incredible. So thanks very much, John H, for that. And that also triggered, probably for the last time tonight, because we're wrapping up in about 4 minutes' time. It triggers the confetti cannon. 3, 2, 1, confetti! Woo! Hey, right, it's brilliant. But yeah, no, that's the thing. I'd like to see more Femi, more other people who create some really good left-wing content. But if you look at the roster on LBC, it is nearly exclusively right-wingers. You've got James O'Brien, who is apparently a left-winger, but then he does some weird shit. And then you've got who? You've got Sheila Fogarty maybe, but she's a TERF.
Yeah. She blocked me over for being. She blocked me specifically over TERF issues, and now she's massively pro-Israel. So Yeah, she's a weird one.
So
I think she was pro-Remain back in the day.
Yeah.
No,
the guy from the news agents. I don't mind him so much, with the younger guy with the crazy hair.
Lewis Goodall.
Lewis Goodall.
Lewis is a good egg.
I like it when he goes, why don't we just... What was he saying? He said we should make an inheritance tax 100%. And that's something I've said for years because it winds people the fuck up.
He got so much crap for that.
I know, but it's right. Like, if you're going to pull yourself up by your bootstraps...
No, in all honesty, Lewis Goodall rattles cages. He literally rattles cages. And I think he's young. He's like, oh, come on, let Scrappy do have a go.
Yeah. But then, you turn it on any given day. You've got Ali Mirage, who's very right-wing. You've got Tom Swarbrick, who's very right-wing. Swarbrick, I tuned in once, and he just went, when you just hear like a little clip of a radio station and you just turn it off instantly. And he was saying, I don't see why British people should run around apologising for crimes that we didn't personally commit. And I'm like, oh my God, I hate that argument.
Swarbrick is, I think he's kind of just testing the water. In the sense of like...
testing the water of racism.
He don't know where he's
history.
Supposed to be. He don't know where he's supposed to be. Is he going to be? Oh, I'm going to be new Nick Ferrari. Good morning. Or maybe be the new James O'Brien.
Well, I like the news agents, but apparently Emily Maitlis is a turfy as well, which I haven't heard her say anything turfy. But
do you know what? I've loved Emily Maitlis since she was on BBC London. And now she's like getting a little bit flexy. She said, I'm Mateless. I'm like, oh, look at you. I'm not Emily, I'm Mateless.
Like Zendaya. Oh, that's her first name. But
Tom Swarbrick. I was going to say, Tom Swarbrick, you're entirely right, Wayne. He hasn't really been sure where he is. In fact, last time I spoke to him directly, it was such a weird conversation. He tried to blame Remainers for Brexit.
I love that.
Wow.
I love that.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Like, if we just sat back and taken it, Brexit would have gone better.
That's like blaming the RAF for Nazis.
Mm-hmm. But it's sort of like the thing we've been talking about with the far right and victim blaming is just like the thing that they do. Like they'll accuse you of harassing and stalking and abusing you while literally doing that.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah.
And it's basically preemptively accuse the other side of the thing that you intend to do to them. It is a problem, and I think we have to get better at finding the vocabulary to actually just say that's what's going on. But it drags everything down immediately to like a playground level of, well, you're just calling each other names. I can't work out which one of you is wrong. And it's designed to elicit that kind of grown-up throwing hands up in the air and saying, I can't work this out, I'm switching this off.
They talk about reverse racism, where actually white kids are being discriminated against when they're not. It's just that the options that are available to them are, in a lot of cases, even less.
I do love that one.
Wheels Darren, thank you very much. Hang on, Wayne. Wheels Darren, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. Nick Abbott on Sunday night, good lefty stroke green.
Sunday night. He's
on actually it's a Friday night.
Well, Marina Perkis was on there, wasn't she, quite a few times on LBC, but now she just does the trawl.
I've got bags of time for that lady. She's why do
if she comes on the social, you're not going to be weird at her, are you?
Huh?
Wayne, you're not going to be weird at her if she comes on the social.
No, not at all.
Like Scott was when lovely Alex came on, and Scott he couldn't. Scott couldn't help himself.
Right.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
When Alex came on, when Alex Kerr came on, and you were like, "Oh my God, hello."
Right. So
that's my husband. Shut up.
When I first met Marina, right, this was at the Stop the Tories, yeah.
Yeah.
And I said, look, love your work, nice to see you, all that kind of thing. Her first word was like, oh yeah, my husband. I was like, darling, I'm not trying to crack on. I'm just saying hello.
Well, it's just the aura you give off, Wayne, clearly.
Desperate.
Whoa!
The second sharpest roast that he's had, and that one didn't come from the chat.
The sense of desperation.
I mean, I did.
By the way, I'm in my fiance's bed right now.
Oh, congratulations!
Whatever. Oh my god.
Sorry. Yeah. Did I not just drop that subtly?
A couple of times.
No,
maybe.
it climbed.
Congratulations. Also, is this fiance in the room with you now, Wayne?
No, she's downstairs with our doggo.
Okay. Well, listen.
Technically, you mentioning your partner was the first thing you said because you said I'm in my good lady's bed.
Yeah.
When you first thing came on the strain.
Yeah.
So did you think we were trying to crack onto you?
But bruv, I didn't
Flex.
say fiance.
Flex. Did you propose to her while we're doing the show? I didn't see you move.
No, Graham, you tried to fucking out me once when I was not prepared to say it.
I tried to out you out the closet. Oh, come on!
Thought I was trying to out you.
Now
Graham,
Scott's excited.
Graham, right. So you said.
Scott, we cured another one. We cured another one of their heterosexuality. Hey.
Well done. Thanks, Wayne.
Graham, you said to me,
join the party.
Wayne, do you want to share the good news?
Sausage party.
The sausage fest.
And I went
Headliner
no.
Wayne Maker.
And
I'm not old.
Poor Ed. He's like, I didn't sign up for this.
What's going on here?
I thought we were going to talk about politics.
Politician. You people are nuts. That's what Ed's thinking. I'm a serious politician. This is all crazy. We're going to be finishing
When
at
was the
10
last
men.
time you met one of them?
A serious
There
politician.
are two kinds of politician. There's the one telling the jokes, and then there's the one that they're telling the jokes about.
Yeah. I would like some politicians to take their job a little bit more seriously, in the overall. But
do you know what? Do you want me to get my fiance up here?
No, we're gonna have to round it up, Wayne. But congratulations, mate. But we do have to wrap it up because
you could pull her from under the bed.
You're already in bed. Some of us have got beds to go to.
Yeah, she's
got to be up early in the morning.
Scott, she's not like your blow up doll under your bed.
You leave Alfred alone.
There you go.
Alfred. How dare you?
How would the blow up doll work?
It's okay. Don't worry. Wayne's mean.
Scott said he's put like this.
Actually, I'm so alone. I wish I had one.
Anyway, apparently he's a barber.
How dare you?
Anyway, before we go,
I'm a qualified barber.
just a quick round up. So, Ed, do you think that Trump's attempted assassination yesterday, do you think it was a real attempt or do you think it was staged?
I don't think it matters because I think the internet will decide it was staged. Whether or not it was, it probably wasn't, but the internet will say it was.
Okay, Femi, staged or real?
I don't believe it until I see him in the ground.
Okay, Scott?
I think it was staged.
Okay, and Wayne?
It's fucking bullshit.
Okay, well,
you could have used the word stage.
Democracy.
You could have said
democracy for you.
He chose his words.
Scott, when do I use cordial language?
Oh, do you know what, though?
That's why you're never here.
Do you know what, though? I woke up this morning at 7:30, right? Opened my phone, and the first thing I saw was shots fired.
I thought it was a beautiful day.
Correspondence dinner, and I was like, ah! And then I turned on it, and it was like Trump
Just
unharmed,
a massive disappointment.
and I was like,
once again,
there's that thing about Hemingway writing the shortest tragedy, and he wrote it in 6 words, and it was for sale, baby shoes, never used. Yeah, I think Trump unharmed trumps that as a tragic story told in just 2 words.
I don't know. I think I like the idea of Trump being alive.
How does he just keep living?
I love the idea of Trump being alive to see the results of the midterm elections in November. I think that will be.
Yeah, and then
everyone in the chat is like fake as fuck, stage, deaf stage, stage like the year one.
Everyone's kind of
if you tell everyone everything is fake news, then they're not going to believe anything.
Yeah. Right, chat. Do you think it was bullshit?
The chat's saying.
They've already done it.
I want the words bullshit. I want spam chat.
Hidden Eyes has a message for Alfred. Blink 3 times if you're being neglected. Poor Alfred. I'm sure Alfred's not being neglected.
Alfred's never neglected, ever.
Anyway, let's leave it there. Thank you so much, Ed, Femi, Scott, and Wayne for coming on the show. Thanks very much to Mike over in España for popping on for a little bit. And thank you to you for watching. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. Give us a like if you are subscribed, because it's always good to get a like before we go. And I'll be back tomorrow morning, bright and early, 9 o'clock on the Morning Brew. And until then, I'll say thanks very, very much for watching. Thanks for the super chats. Hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye. Bye, everyone. Wave. Bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.